Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm alongside Adamo today to preview the Sassuolo-Milan match, which will be played tomorrow at the Stadio Mapei, on Sunday, May 17th at 12:30 p.m. local time. For us in North America, that is me and Adamo, the match will be at 6:30 in the morning. Now, I'm debating whether I should wake up for this or not. First of all, mainly because Milan has no chance of making up into the European competitions. Second, do I really want to witness a very poor match either way from Milan or not? Because, okay, yeah, we did win against Roma last week, but we did have three consecutive losses before that. So chances are, as we know Milan all season, they do pick up a win, and after that, it's just a string of bad results. So I'm not saying we're gonna lose against Sassuolo, but we always had trouble against this team. It was never easy for us to play against Sassuolo. I don't know why, but we always had trouble with this team. You saw it last year with Allegri getting fired. And by the way, getting fired against Sassuolo, and he will be at the Champions League final. So that just kind of proves you the team Sassuolo is right there. So besides that, this year as well, we lost them at the San Siro. However, we did beat them in the Coppa Italia in not a very convincing manner, however. So therefore, it's still a team that can pose many troubles. Their goal has been reached this season, which was, of course, not being relegated to the Serie B. So they're safe for another year in the Serie A. But, with 3 games left, Milan still want to show that, of course, they'll be building up results in order to bring them into next season. And, of course, I'm not speaking about the whole chemistry and motivation to bring into next season because, of course, that just doesn't work like that for Milan. It works as if you're starting a brand new season, you're going to be completely motivated, and then based on some results, you either have a good season or you have a shit season. That is pretty much the story with Milan. But I'm going to let Adamo do some talking here. As I mentioned, Adamo, Sassuolo, never an easy team to face. What kind of match are you expecting tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning?
Well, being at 6:30 in the morning should be an interesting matchup. I'm sure a lot of people will be keen to watch this fixture, probably the biggest fixture of the week. Obviously, wanting to see Milan shit the bed once again. It's just everybody's dream. But yeah, Sassuolo, technically they destroyed Allegri at Milan. So they're practically Champions League winners now. Now with Juve being the Champions League final. But besides that, should be I expect kind of not a beating, but I do think they will give Milan trouble as they always do with players like Berardi and Zaza, of course. I don't know if they'll be playing, but if they do, if they don't, we'll still get trouble by Sassuolo for whatever reason it is. I'm not too sure. But Pippo Inzaghi, ladies and gentlemen, he's at it again. Of course, the one and only man, myth, the legend, saying he's going to play the youth players. Up against Roma, not a single youth player. Up against Sassuolo, the team trying, as Gio said, to avoid relegation, not a single youth player. I know there is a couple youth players in the squad, 1 or 2, I believe, but nobody's starting. I doubt that he'll sub them in, and one of them's a goalkeeper, so I doubt that's even going to really have any effect. But yeah, as he said he's going to bring youth players into the mix as now the season's over. I don't get what he's fighting for. For not making Europe is literally mathematically impossible to make Europe, and it's literally mathematically impossible to get relegated. So I don't understand, or we're still trying to kind of make an impact on the league. Oh, we're AC Milan, we can beat Sassuolo because people really care, right? People already know that we're not the best of teams at the moment. Hopefully things change for the better, but I don't get why he's not playing these players.
Yeah, well said there. It's not like if you had 9th, 10th, or 11th, you get some money fund or something or extra motivation in order to bring it to next season. So definitely Inzaghi should give the youth a chance, guys. Come on. I mean, we did see was it Philly Choli, I believe, a few games ago. We saw him playing for Milan for a couple of minutes, and that was good to see him come in. But at the same time, why not start some youth? What's there to lose, as Adamo mentioned? At this point of the season, you kind of just have to let the people that haven't played play, because technically, of course, as we mentioned, the season's done. There's nothing else to play for. So let them play. And of course, with so many injuries, Milan, which are still suffering now, Cerci's out, Montolivo, Rami, De Sciglio, Menez was still with that red card. You know, still lots of players injured out there. Give the youth a chance. Give them a home to play with. And you know what? They got to come into this match. And, you know, any given moment, even the second half, if they do actually start from like the second half or something, give them a chance to play. That would be nice to see. But without further ado, guys, let's take a look at the probable starting formations. Let's start off, of course, as usual, with Milan, as Diego Lopez is expected to start in net in a 4-3-3 formation. Defense made up of Abate, Mexes, Paletta, and Bocchetti. Now, Bocchetti is, of course, expected to be starting on the left. Antonelli is still doubtful for this match. Nishio out, as I mentioned before. So, Bocchetti, of course, is pretty much the last option on that left to play. And in the midfield, we're going to see Poli, De Jong, and Van Ginkel. Van Ginkel that got himself his first ever Serie A goal against Roma last week. And, of course, well, he's going to be trying to build up on that result and on that goal for him from now until the end of the season. Maybe give Milan a motive to keep him for next year. You know, it's just going to work from there for Van Ginkel. I think he had a pretty decent season, of course. If Milan actually played better, he could have done better himself. But besides that, you know, I think he deserves to get another chance for next season. Will Milan, of course, going to have to pay some money if they want him for next season? Will they be willing to do that? I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the whole investment situation, which, by the way, we're still not really clear over. So until then, we will not make any discussion, reaction video on the whole situation, because we'll just be talking bullshit if it was the case before we actually know the facts. But moving on to the forwards, Bonaventura on the left, this in the middle, which he scored himself against Roma, is of course his former team. And on the right, which provided 2 assists in that Roma match, and he kind of seemed like a revived player. Will he be able to perform as well in this match? We'll see, because many people are obviously saying that Menez was the problem. Why the attack wasn't flourishing, as why the attack wasn't creating much, you know. And I kind of agree with that. I mean, Menez, every time he comes in that final third, he tries to do it all himself, giving the other players very to little, no chance. And of course, you know, we'll see what happens with that. I don't think on that a bad season. Once again, same situation as Van Ginkel. I think he had some very good games, but other games were really, really poor from him. So we'll see what happens, but we'll see if Honda can actually keep up this form from now until the end of the season, which might, once again, give a motive to Milan to see if this player could actually be in their future plans. Sassuolo now going with a similar formation, 4-3-3. Everyone expected to be playing in there, and what I mean by that is Sansone, Zaza, Berardi. Pretty much their main players will be there for Sassuolo, and it's not going to be an easy match. You know, you're playing at the Mappe Stadium. Same, which, by the way, Milan actually won a Tim Cup, you know, one of those pointless preseason things. So you never know. It might be a good day for Milan. On the other hand, as I mentioned before, it might once again be a very shit-in-the-bed type of day. Now that I'm looking at the formations, what do you make out of all this? You know, Milan, once again, going to be tough to get a result out of Sassuolo, even though Sassuolo are, what, like 16th, 17th in the league. You know, never easy to play against those bottom teams for some reason for Milan. But what do you make out of the formations altogether?
Well, again, with that youth statement that I made earlier, again, I just don't understand why we're not playing the youth. Even like, you know, for example, like players like Honda, I'd love to see, you know, because he's obviously trying to prove himself. And then Zaghi is trying to prove himself as well, you know. Pretty much his job is out of the equation. He's already practically gone. So he's going to want to really, you know, ensure other clubs that, okay, this wasn't all my fault. I can still kind of win games. But just for Milan's sake, like let's say a player like Honda, for example, I'd rather see players like Di Molfetta play. Let's say like Bonaventura, I'd rather see Mastur player on the left side. I get a lot of these players are playing with the Primavera, but they shouldn't. They should be playing with the starting squad in the first team because, whether they deserve it or not, it's the end of the season and it's completely irrelevant. For Sassuolo, obviously, they have their dangerous attack in Sansone, Zaza, and Berardi, all players who cause Milan tons of trouble. And all players I would probably start at Milan if you really think of it. I'd take all of them. Yeah, it's kind of odd. Sassuolo, they do have a very, very strong team for a team that just recently came from Serie B, but they haven't really been performing too well. But of course, AC Milan, the team that every team wants to come up against, and they always get the 3 points. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens in that early fixture.
Yeah, especially in the season where they haven't been picking up the results. I mean, every week you just don't know what to make out of them. Win, lose. Like, look at that. We beat Roma, right? And we tied them 0-0 the first time. So literally we didn't lose against Roma this season. Probably one of the only teams that could say that. And losing against Atalanta, chasing up poor games, like stuff like that really pisses me off. It absolutely makes no sense. And once again, as we mentioned many times, it might be just that little touch of motivation that Milan has against the top teams, and when they play the low teams, it just doesn't make up for them. I don't know what it is. But other than that, guys, it's time for predictions. Adamo, what do you think the score will be?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go with a, you know what, just because early in the morning, I want to see something fun happen. I don't even care if we win, lose, draw, it doesn't matter. Let's go for a 3-2 Milan win.
Oh, man, there'll be lots of goals there for Adamo.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with something similar, but I think Sassuolo is going to get something out of this match. And that is why, they have some very good strikers that many people underrate just because they're playing for Sassuolo. But in essence, guys, these guys could really threaten any team at any given point. They're not really Sassuolo players. Some of them are like Cone with Juve, stuff like that. So these guys still have the talent. As far as the scoreline, I'm going to go with a tie. And I'm going to shoot in there a nice 2-2 tie. Once again, I think there's going to be lots of goals. You might not be expecting it for a lunchtime match, but in Italy that is. But I think Milan's just going to be playing a bit too heavy. Maybe lots of pasta there, eating before that match. So I think they're going to be making mistakes. And I think Sassuolo, obviously, a team that has been pretty much poor this season. However, they did get results. I think they will be making their mistakes as well. So I don't think I think it's pretty much inevitable for both these teams to make mistakes. So I say lots of goals once again for these two teams in a 2-2 tie. So that pretty much sums up our match preview, guys. I don't think we're going to be having a pre-match hangout tomorrow, since I told you it's going to be very, very early in the morning for us. But we will be ready for the match review, of course, which will be following the Sassuolo Milan match. And of course, guys, leave your comments. What do you guys think? Of course, as I said, Milan has nothing to play for anymore. What do you think of the lineup? Could Milan get a result out of this game or not? Leave it all in the comments section. We'll be obviously glad and curious to read it. Don't forget to subscribe to Rossoneri TV for everything AC Milan, and also follow us at Rossoneri TV and at Adamo Ritaco on Twitter. Thank you for watching. This has been Gio and Adamo signing off, and as usual, Forza Milan.